Hi, I'm Brent Van Dyson. As an elder law attorney, I help people protect their assets from the high cost of nursing home care. If you, your spouse, or your parent is in a nursing home today or is about to go into one, please contact my Charleston office for a consultation. You can reach us at 304-343-3777 or on the web at wvelderlaw.com. The Van Dyson Law Office, protecting assets for seniors.
Welcome to this episode of Legally Speaking. I'm Amy Sterling and I'm joined by Brent Van Dyson of the Van Dyson Law Office. Thank you for being here. We have covered so many different scenarios about how to effectively work with Medicaid on your side to help you pay for nursing home care. How do you do this if you are a single person?
So there's a couple different approaches. If the single person going into a nursing home, if their goal is to attempt to preserve as much assets as possible for children or other beneficiaries, there are some strategies that we can adopt.
Perfect.
Even now, mind you, pre-planning does yield the best results, but in our previous episode, we talked about the crisis case with a married couple where one went into a nursing home. Now we're talking about the crisis case with a single person going into a nursing home. So remember, the protections that were there for a spouse are gone. So the single person going into a nursing home would be a private pay patient until their countable assets are down below $2,000. They can own a home, they can own an automobile, household possessions, a pre-paid funeral plan. Everything else is a countable asset, which would be limited to $2,000. So if we have a person going into a nursing home with, say, $70,000 of cash savings, and they're looking at having to spend that in a matter of 5 months paying for nursing home care unless we come up with some different plan.
Sure.
So we're going to first look through to find out what are the spending possibilities. Are there any debts to pay off? If so, let's pay them off. Might there be some expense that you could pay now, such as automobile insurance or homeowners insurance? Let's just not make a monthly payment. Let's pay that up for the full year.
Okay.
If this is at the beginning of July, property tax bills just came out. Let's pay it for the year. So if there's no debts to pay off, if some of these expenses don't exist or we've done these things, what else could we spend money on? As I mentioned before, we could spend money on home improvements. Remember, a single person in a nursing home, the home is exempt as long as its value is $572,000 or less, and as long as they intend to return home if they get better. So why not spend some of this money to make improvements to the home? Even if the chances to come home appear dismal at that point, if those chances did improve, wouldn't it be better to spend some of this money making improvements to the home, maybe make it more accessible? So if the patient in the nursing home can go home, but they're going to have lingering disabilities, maybe their home is easier to get around in. Take care of deferred maintenance, and again, cosmetic things also to consider, and the functioning of the environment. You know, maybe there's appliances that are coming close to being on their last legs. Maybe we're going to replace those, or maybe the furnace is getting close to the end. Let's spend some money on that. If we've covered those issues, there's still money to spend. What about an automobile? Now, for a single person going into a nursing home, even if they did get an opportunity to come home, maybe they'll never drive again.
Sure.
Maybe they will. If they come home, maybe they're going to have to rely on caregivers or family members to drive them to and from doctor's appointments. They'll need a car for that.
Is there any way to set aside money for those purposes, for that future care, or really you
So-
just have to spend it down
so-
on these certain items?
So spending is the first thing we go to
Okay.
because spending makes sense. Spending to purchase a car, to make home improvements, to pay funeral expenses, these are things that add value. These are things that if the person gets well enough to go home, there's a benefit to having this. If they're not well enough to go home, if there are heirs that they want to leave things
Oh, that's
to,
a great point. Yeah.
they're going to be leaving a car that's in better shape than the one they have. They're going to be leaving a home that's in better shape than it was. So the issue, though, that you've come up with, what if I just want some of this money set aside? There's a couple of different approaches to that. If the person in the nursing home has a trustworthy family member or dear friend, and this is where trust is absolute. If you don't have trust, you can't do this option.
Okay.
There is an option that involves making a gift of the monies, and let's say it's $70,000, to the person who has who is the trustworthy
Who you
friend
trust.
or
Okay.
family member. They receive that gift. Now, this causes the person to be not eligible for Medicaid for a set period of time,
Okay.
10 months, because of this gift within the 5-year look back.
Okay, but we've covered what 10 months of nursing home care can cost.
Right.
Okay.
So the rules work out such that by making this gift, a portion of it can be retained so long as a portion of it is paid back.
Okay.
The net result is paying back the part of the funds that have been transferred reduces the penalty, starts Medicaid early, and saves about 35 to 40% of the funds that were transferred.
Okay.
The technical aspects of it are fairly complicated. It's not something that's a do-it-yourself item, but it is possible. Now, if we have a single person going into a nursing home without a trustworthy friend or family member, and let's just say no close relatives whatsoever, they're more concerned about, well, while I'm in here for the rest of my life in a nursing home, what about the extras, my extra personal needs? Might they have a need for some things that they should address? So if you're in a nursing home and Medicaid is paying for your care, you're going to receive the exact identical care that somebody might be paying out of pocket,
Okay.
$9,000 to $14,000, and so if per month. So if
Yeah.
we have a single person in the nursing home with no close family or friend, and she's receiving her monthly Social Security, she's already spent through all of her cash assets. Her monthly income goes to the nursing home. She gets $50 for her personal needs.
Okay.
The $50 is spent towards personal care items like getting your hair done, having a telephone in your room, cable TV in your room. There's no real money left for things like clothing,
Sure. Yeah.
snacks,
Yeah.
reading materials, other than things that may be donated.
Yeah.
So there are some things that can be done, and I get a sense we might need to take a break.
You are good at, he is good at this.
So
Well,
how about
let's-
after the break, I'll go over that.
I don't even need to throw to the break. You just did it.
Hi, I'm Brent Van Dyson. As an elder law attorney, my law firm can help you protect your assets from the high cost of nursing home care. In your community, we will soon be having free legal seminars where you can come and learn more about the options available to protect your home and your life savings from the high cost of nursing home care. Watch your local newspaper for advertisements of this event, or visit our website at wvelderlaw.com for a list of the upcoming seminars.
Biblical preaching, powerful singing. At Teays Valley Baptist Church, we believe in lifting up the name of Jesus and proclaiming Christ for the valley. We invite you to watch our services each Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Network West Virginia, and hope you will join us during our weekly services where you can find a place to call home. For more information, visit our website at TaysValleyBaptist.com.
Welcome back to Legally Speaking. Brent, you should have done that. You're hosting your own show today.
Okay.
He's good. We're talking about when you're in a nursing home, you're a single person, you need some money just for some personal expenses. $50 a month is the amount we're playing with right now,
Exactly.
or that you can have. That's not enough.
Right. And
What do I do?
And so when you go into a nursing home and qualify for Medicaid, you can keep up to $2,000, not a penny over.
Okay.
But that money could quickly deplete, especially if you own a home. Remember, Medicaid program will let you keep it, but if you don't have the money to pay the taxes and insurance
Sure.
and upkeep on it, then what are you going to do? So if we don't have the trusted family member or friend, the Medicaid rules allow establishing what is called a pooled special needs trust.
Okay.
So this is a trust run by a nonprofit trustee that allows the Medicaid recipient to take whatever their spend down amount is. And,
Okay.
and if they don't have anything left to spend it on, or if they want to essentially keep this money safe in the event that they recover and can go back home, or in the event that they need money for personal items and to make their life a little bit more
Sure.
comfortable in the nursing home, they can fund with their money, their spend down money, this pooled special needs trust. So this then provides management of the funds by a professional trustee. The Medicaid rules allow this unique type of trust arrangement. However, the monies in this trust, for example, are limited and restricted on the things they could be used for.
Okay.
But for example, if you have your home owned by the trust and there's homeowners insurance premiums or taxes that are due on it, then the trust could pay those items.
Okay, perfect.
If you needed reading materials in your room, could take care of that as well. So the trust winds up being at least a way to provide some amount of money to cover things like this. However, the downside of this is any monies remaining in the trust at the death of the nursing home patient go to the state Medicaid agency to reimburse for Medicaid expenses. But in our example, the person in the nursing home doesn't have any close family available or friends, and is effectively on her own. And in this case, she wants to take an extra step to ensure her own financial survival, if she should get better, and if not, at least so she could have some monies available for extra items. The fact that the state would get a payout of what was left, I imagine in this case would be acceptable.
Okay, but that leads me to another question. What if this person has children? Or does that affect the way they're going to do this?
It depends. If they have children they're close with who are trustworthy, they may very well do the gift and return aspect of it, simply because that could provide some leftover monies to be divided between children. Let's say this client has one child who has a serious drug and alcohol addiction, and while they have a good, close, loving relationship, can't be trusted with any money.
It's a great example.
Right. She would have no choice but to either spend this money paying for care or put it in the special needs trust.
And in that case, what do you think? Special needs trust?
If she wants to preserve some sort of money in the event that she could ever return home, or some sort of money for those extra things she may have, that would make sense.
Okay, little bit different topic, but as we talk about going to nursing homes, in my mind at least, I'm picturing an older person. What about someone who might be younger but has a disability?
Sure.
Or an injury or something is heading in. Right. Any scenarios we need to think about for that type of person?
Just keep in mind, I've had clients in their 40s that have had, Lou Gehrig's disease, multiple sclerosis, stroke, early onset frontal
or Alzheimer's
dementia, right? So the same issues are involved in all of those. Now, here's a thing that's really unique about last minute planning when we have a single person regarding the home.
Okay.
All right. So if you remember, when we have a married couple, when one spouse goes into the nursing home, the deed can be changed, transferring ownership to the other spouse. So we don't have that ownership change option, but we do have another option. It's called a transfer on death deed.
Ooh, okay.
All right, and I'm hearing some people ask me about a deed upon death. Same thing.
Okay.
The idea being that you could, with the deed to your home, name who the beneficiaries would be in a deed, who would take ownership at your death if you still have the property. This can be a great last minute planning option if you're able to keep the house until your death, even though you're spending several years in a nursing home. You complete the transfer on death deed, the 5-year look back doesn't apply, Medicaid disqualification penalties don't apply, because the beneficiaries that you're naming, whether those be children or other relatives or close personal friend, those persons don't take ownership until the moment of your death. Through the deed instead of through your will, this cuts off the state's right to put a Medicaid estate recovery lien against the property. So this is a good last minute planning option. Now, what are the downsides of this? Well, if you have to sell the home before your death, you still own it 100%.
Yes, you do.
So 100% of the monies come to you. I don't necessarily like this as a long-term planning option. My preferred route would be for a client to set up an asset protection trust, simply because if the home is sold while you've gone into a nursing home and are eligible for Medicaid, if the home is sold and your trust owns it, the majority of the money belongs to the trust.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is good. Instead of all of it coming to you, you're losing Medicaid. So while a transfer on death deed can be a great tool to avoid a Medicaid lien, I would reserve that as either a last minute planning strategy or perhaps for a client where the cost of money spent on a trust may not be justified by the value of their home.
Okay. So I've asked you this question before, but biggest mistake or regret that people who come to you last minute, is it saying, gee, I should have come earlier?
Well, certainly that's a common one. The prevailing mistake I see is somebody having a close health scare, bouncing back, and then without knowledge of what they should or shouldn't do, start making big gifts.
Okay, and you've mentioned that in another episode.
Yeah, because
and I understand the thinking on that.
Right.
But the long run, that's not the way to go.
Right. A lot of people think, well, I better give it away, otherwise they're going to take it all from me. Well, if you've given it away and you need to go into a nursing home and qualify for Medicaid, which is the only source that'll pay for your care, you will be denied the payment, the only payment source available to pay for that care for a period of months or years, and you'd have no other way to pay for it.
Yeah, this is why you need to run. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment with some more ideas and tips.
Hi, I'm Brent Van Dyson. As an elder law attorney, I bring a unique experience to helping you plan your estate. I can help you establish a will, trust agreement if necessary, and important documents called powers of attorney to help protect you in the event of a disability. please call my Charleston office at 304-343-3777 for a consultation, or visit us on the web at wvelderlaw.com.
Hi, this is Father Chapin, host of Daily Living with Father Chapin. Join us every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, as well as an encore performance every Wednesday night at 9:30, where we take the scriptures, bust it down, try to figure out how it is that we can apply this good news into our daily living. Join us here on this channel, Sunday mornings at 9, encore performance Wednesday night at 9:30. See you there.
Welcome back to this episode of Legally Speaking. This is wonderful. We're talking about single people as they approach the issue in their lives of going into a nursing home, because there's a lot that comes with that territory. Let's maybe focus a little bit on what does a single person need to do with power of attorney or living wills, along those lines, if they don't have that close loved one there to be their voice, should they need someone to do that?
So the issue you've brought up is an important one, because I've been talking about what the single person in a nursing home can choose to do.
Sure.
What if they've gone into the nursing home and because of a cognitive impairment, such as dementia, they're not in a position to be able to make these choices? What can be done to help provide the avenue for somebody to do that? Well, if they're already in a nursing home and past the point of comprehension, hopefully they've already signed a document called a General Durable Power of Attorney.
Okay.
That is a legal document that allows you to appoint somebody to handle your financial and legal affairs in the event that you are not able to do so. And then you ultimately would pick a backup in case that person can't do it.
Okay, so you'd name somebody and somebody else.
Right, as a
Okay.
backup.
All
Yeah.
right.
So the idea there being is that if you can't make these decisions as to what the best path may be to getting Medicaid eligible, you at least have the opportunity in advance of creating this document in case disability is necessary. Now, often what I see, and this can be really tough, I might have the nursing home patient's son or daughter coming to me and saying, "Hey, mom has really bad dementia, then she had a stroke, and now she can't communicate. There's no power of attorney. We can't get access to her assets. What do we do?" Well, if that's the case, she can't sign a power of attorney.
Right.
She can't comprehend it. Even if she could sign her name, if she can't comprehend it, she can't
doesn't
sign
matter.
it.
Okay.
Right. So now we're going to have to go through the court to have her declared incompetent and get somebody appointed as her guardian to make healthcare and living decisions, and conservator to make legal and financial decisions.
What is that process like? Not to delve too much into it, but time frame wise, what are you looking at?
So time frame wise, it can be a process that's as short as 45 days to upwards of 60 to 90 days, depending on how in depth it needs to be. It's really the emotional aspect of it. That's where the real toll is. I mean, it's expensive. Often it's advisable to have an attorney involved in guiding you through that process. But think about it. You're having your parent declared incompetent, which is...
It's horrific.
It is. And they may just know enough to, in their demented mind, think that my child is trying to take everything from me and lock me away in a nursing home.
Absolutely.
Not comprehending that it's just come to that and there's no other choice.
How do we avoid this?
Certainly having a durable power of attorney where you've designated somebody to make financial decisions and legal decisions can be one tool needed to avoid this. Having a medical power of attorney to also designate somebody to make healthcare decisions for you is ideal. However, sometimes with dementia, even with these documents, if the person with dementia has significant paranoia and is shutting people out of their lives and wrongfully believes that effectively everyone close to them is trying to steal from them or persecute them in some way, they may have done something like called the bank and say, don't let my power of attorney person have access. And so
at that point, they can still do that.
Sure,
right? Okay.
sure. And the bank teller might recognize this person, something's wrong, but the banker doesn't have anything other to do than abide by that direction. And so in that case, even though you have the documents, you would still have to go to court, have the person declared incompetent, get somebody appointed as the guardian and conservator.
Would you have a similar situation? We're talking about single people, but would it be a similar situation if it was a husband and wife?
Absolutely, same thing.
Same exact situation.
Same exact situation. And in fact, in that case, let's say it's the husband with dementia, the wife has been the caregiver keeping him at home, but there's some aspect of his finances that needs to be managed. And let's say he's paranoid, let's say he's easily agitated and angered. We don't necessarily want the wife to be the one bringing the petition, because he just might know enough to be mad forever at the person who brings it. So a good strategy in that case might be to have some other family member bring the petition, have the wife be supportive, basically telling her husband, sorry that so-and-so brought the petition. Now it's in the hands of the court. I can't do anything. I love you. I'll be here for you. Because I've seen the opposite happen. I've seen where every family member has gone through and through the use of logic has tried to talk their demented parent through this, and one by one, the parent has effectively cut those family members out of their life forever, because all they can remember is this person is trying to harm me.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So I've said this earlier, but I think when you work in law, you also work a little bit with psychology, and you see these very tough moments and very personal moments. What are, I mean, again, the best advice you can give people about when you need to start these conversations, either with your family or with an attorney?
Sure. So ideally, this is something that the folks in retirement are going to see an attorney, follow an attorney's recommendation, having a power of attorney document for finances and medical. The difficulty comes in the parent has a diagnosis of dementia, somewhat forgetful, somewhat confused, but not too bad.
Sure.
The child discovers there's no power of attorney, and then brings this to the parent's attention. You know, Mom, you need to go get a power of attorney. You need to go see a lawyer. And the mother may or may not understand why that's necessary.
Okay.
If she does understand why it's necessary, she might be reluctant because she's afraid to confront this.
Sure.
And maybe the child even tries to, take it a step further and say, Mom, here's an attorney, go see them. Maybe she makes an appointment, but then her reluctance kicks in and she cancels the appointment and doesn't do it because she can't bear to face the fact that she's losing control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one other question for you. When you go to a nursing home, as a family, a spouse, you're there because you have a loved one who needs to go. Do they talk to you at all about these topics or inform you about this? Or is it best, if you're making that appointment to go speak to a nursing home, to also make one to speak to an attorney?
Sure. So the social worker at the nursing home or the business office person at the nursing home is often one of the first people to make a recommendation like that.
Perfect.
And to direct to an attorney like myself if my services could be beneficial. But in many times, due to cognitive impairments, at the time when a person goes into a nursing home, their cognitive function may be so bad that they may not be able to sign powers of attorney at that time.
It's what you're saying. They're already in that position of not fully understanding what's going on.
Right.
All right. Oh, Brent. Well, thank you. I know it's a tough topic, but I just hope it helps educate our viewers, because that's really what you need to know when things are tough like that. So please remember, call Brent, call an elder care attorney, and really have someone guide you through a very tough process.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, sir, and thank you for watching this episode of Legally Speaking.